Northern Illinois 16, Notre Dame 14.
All right, let's crack some knuckles, Ty. Let's crack that neck. Let's really dig in deep into this. This should be like an intellectual shiatsu situation with your Notre Dame fandom.
Listen, we've done this show forever. We know how this works when Notre Dame loses. Oregon could lose by the time all is said and done, but
yeah.
Suffice to say, when Notre Dame loses, there is an influx of sadists who show up at the door and download this show and want to hear my pain. So you're going to get it.
Well, today the floor is yours, Ty, of course. But I must say, the context coming into this game was just like, hey, join a conference. You beat your one team, and now you got nobody left on the schedule before Notre Dame. Sorry. It was just such specific. The red carpet was laid out like in an impeccable way. Now
it was. And all week leading up to this game, not leading up to this game, but I would say following the A&M game, you saw it, I saw it. If you went on social media, if you follow anybody on college football, Twitter, or wherever, everyone was talking about the graphic that ESPN put up on one of its shows and across its socials, giving Notre Dame something like a 22% chance to finish the season 12-0. They were the most probable college football team, period, to finish 12-0. Talk about trotting a black cat out there.
Yeah.
So this game today started off as a hangover, morphed quickly into a clunker, and then ended up as perhaps the biggest shocker that we were going to see all college football season long. Northern Illinois won this game, again, 16-14. I was high on NIU in the preseason. You know this.
Yeah.
And I believe my preview at the time was if they get a quarterback, they could challenge for the MAC. They've got a defense. They've got playmakers. They get a quarterback, maybe they can make things interesting in the MAC outside of Miami, Ohio, and Toledo. What I did not say is that they would beat Notre freaking Dame. This one I did not expect. So I give a lot of credit to Tom Hammock. I want to give it credit where it's due. If you watched any of the post-game stuff, the dude was crying. It clearly meant a lot to him. They talked on the broadcast about how it was his dream job, et cetera, et cetera. I'm happy for him as a podcast host and somebody who tries to maybe detach from that situation.
Yeah.
But, Dan.
Yeah. Walk me through it.
Come on. There is no way a team with Notre Dame's talent, a team with Notre Dame's pedigree, a team of Notre Dame's caliber should go into this game against Northern Illinois and come out having been that outplayed.
You're not paying Mike Denbrock a bunch of money for that output, right?
They're paying Mike Denbrock a ton of money, Dan.
Yeah.
They're paying a ton of money for this football program just in general.
Sure.
And Notre Dame got worked in the trenches. Notre Dame got outgained by 100 yards. There was no urgency on offense. Riley Leonard never looked comfortable. It wasn't exactly a good commercial for the Manning Passing Academy now, was it?
No, not at all.
I'd like to know what the game plan was. That's where I'm at with this, because I've watched the post-game pressers and I've read the post-game write-ups and I've obviously been out there in the Twitter sphere, however quietly, because I'm not wading into those murky waters after what I watched earlier today. But somebody's got to tell somebody what the damn game plan was, because to my untrained eye, it didn't look like there was much of one. Or there was one, and then when it didn't work, they didn't have something else. Reminded me a lot of Jared Parker. Was he calling the plays? Did he hack the radio? It felt a lot like they were unable to adapt to what was going on around them, and that was really frustrating. I got to a point in the fourth quarter where I'm thinking, is this a Marshall Redux from 2022? It had all the same vibes of that game, where it's there for Notre Dame. You know they should be able to win this game. You know they've got the players. By the way, that team wasn't as good as this team, and yet they still could not get over the hump. And so that's bothersome, Dan. That is really bothersome. And the thing that I kept coming back to as I'm reading all of this stuff out there on the interwebs is, look, you get a new coach, as Notre Dame did now 2 seasons ago. This is year 3 under Marcus Freeman.
Let me just jump in. Oregon just scored a touchdown and doinked an extra point. That's
beautiful.
Fun. It's fun to watch.
So same page here. We're on the same page. This is great.
We're bathing in the disappointment jacuzzi. Continue.
Anytime you get a new coach, it's a journey. And I don't care if you're Alabama, starting over with Kalen DeBoer, or if you're Nevada with Jeff Choate.
Yeah,
all right. Everybody's got their own different journey. But along the way, you fans know this. you have these press conferences that you watch and these beat writers that you read, and the coaches often talk about the things they learn along the way, especially if it's a newer coach. We learn that lesson. We need to be better as coaches, right? It's on us. We take responsibility. Brian Kelly never said that. That's not his thing. But Marcus Freeman said it a million times over. And what bothers me the most, more than anything, is it happened again. The same stuff, when it happens over and over and over again, that's what drives me crazy. I can deal with a loss, even if it's to Northern Illinois.
Yeah.
But lose in a different way, please. Don't again get to this point where it feels like you're stuck in the mud and install or going in reverse and you can't adjust and it feels like it's there and nobody has any urgency or any plan to get him out of the muck. And that was the rub on Marcus Freeman coming into this season.
Yeah.
Maybe not specifically that, but people questioned rightly, what is this guy learning as an in-game coach? Is he getting better in-game? We know the recruiting is gangbusters. We know the assistant hires have been elite. Great. Yeah. He's done a good job on that front. But what about in-game? When the rubber meets the road on game day, what happens? This is what happens, 16-14. So they have no one to blame but themselves for this. It's incredibly frustrating. It's been hours now after this damn game. I'm still losing my mind over it because I cannot believe it happened.
Yeah.
And now I got to deal with all of the feedback that has come in. I'm spitting here. I'm going crazy. On the reverb line, on the text line, which I did finally disable the notifications, by the way.
Oh, congrats.
Thank you. I figured out how to do it. But the emails, the tweets, all that stuff has been pouring in. And now it's going to be this cacophony of folks who love to pile on Notre Dame. I get it. And we're going to now have this full season-long conversation about what it's going to take to get Notre Dame into a playoff. Is it possible without being in that conference, as you mentioned earlier?
Wait, are you talking about this year?
I'm talking about this year, yeah.
How can you even broach that conversation?
I'm not broaching it. I'm saying this is where the conversation will go now for the remainder of the year.
Yeah.
Because inevitably they're going to beat somebody by like 72 points. And it's like, wow, Notre Dame looked pretty good this week. And everyone around them's losing, and it's 12 teams, and they can still... I'm going to have to deal with this all year now. And I just am not looking forward to that conversation because they lost to NIU. And for my money, you lose to a team like that, that should be a disqualifier.
I agree.
But yet I'm going to have to deal with this conversation all year. And as a fan, I'd almost rather just be over with and let's move on and don't make me deal with that conversation. I'd love for him to be in the playoff, but I can't even think about it right now.
Drew Pine would never have let this happen.
Never.